Dear Diary, I have an audition coming up. Fat Louie has been my moral support.
Me? A princess? Shut up!
So I've been connecting with a lot of you guys on here about going through Disney auditions, and we all have questions about how to be successful. And one of those biggest questions is, how do you do your makeup and what do you wear to an audition? And as I've become more and more successful with Disney auditions, meaning getting callbacks and getting kept to the end of an audition, this is the makeup that I have found to be most successful for me. And I'm going to show you guys how to do it. Disclaimer, this is just the makeup that has worked best for me. So everybody is different, every audition is different, every casting director is different. And my best advice for Disney auditions is to experiment. Experiment with more makeup, with less makeup, experiment with your brows, with your blush placement, lashes, eyeliner, lip liner, contour, skincare, hairstyle. Experiment with all of those things and see how it frames your face differently and frames your photos differently. And take any advice that anybody gives you with a grain of salt. Because like I said, every audition is different. And so what you need to do is go in how you feel most comfortable and confident. That being said, I'm going to show you guys how I personally do my makeup for Disney auditions. So I start with my skin prep and I shave my face, which I know is a little bit silly, but it is a truly fantastic way to exfoliate your skin and make sure it is nice and smooth for makeup application. I have dry skin, so this step is so essential for me. You can either do this the night before or the morning of. And I also shave around my brows to shape them. So the underneath of your brows is really what's gonna give that nice line, nice shape to your brows. So I pay more attention to that, but I also kind of brush a little bit above them as well. And I do this to both sides. You can also pluck them, but I just decided to do it this way. Then I'm using some of my micellar water and just going over with a cotton round. This will get rid of any extra dirt or extra dead skin. And then I also am taking a wet washcloth and just going through and exfoliating as well. Then I'm taking some coconut oil, and this is just for my lips, my under eyes, and my eyelids, and a little bit on my eyelashes. If you put coconut oil anywhere else, it will break you out and clog your pores, so maybe use argan oil if you want to be safe. And then I use this Cetaphil lotion, specifically the one with the shea butter is the one that works best for me and my dry skin. And I put this all over once the coconut oil has soaked in a little bit, and I put any excess on my hand. Then I take the Clinique lip lotion, which is amazing, and I put it on my lips, and I use this Burt's Bees Overnight Intensive Lip Treatment, which is also amazing. I have extremely dry lips. And I do this before I do my makeup and throughout doing my makeup so that by the time I get to my lips that I am very prepared. Then I'm just letting everything soak in, all the lotion and the coconut oil for a little bit, and I'm just setting everything up, getting different products out, and getting myself ready. Then I'm curling my eyelashes. Again, I like to do this kind of like with chapstick. I like to do it like way ahead of time and kind of throughout doing my makeup so that it's very prepped by the time I get to it. Then I'm taking my foundation. I didn't show it, but it's the Tarte Shape Tape Foundation. A lot of people might know about this concealer. It's kind of a famous concealer, but I love their foundation. Any full coverage foundation that works great for you is good. I love the EVXO foundation for a little bit of a lighter foundation. I've heard Urban Decay is good, so yeah, anything that works for you. I put it on my eyelids as well. I blend it down my neck. And the main thing that I want to touch on here is layering. So I'll do like a nice light layer and then I'll let it kind of sit and then do another layer. And that's how you really get that good full coverage to your foundation. And with all of our skin prep, we've made sure that it is going to sit smoothly and work well with our skin. So the skin prep is so essential. I cannot emphasize that enough. Then I'm taking a little bit of that foundation and I'm just using my pinky finger to go over specific spots that I want to cover. I have freckles on this side of my cheek, which I love, but because I want to make my face look as symmetrical as possible, I'm just patting them over with a little bit of foundation so that they're not distracting, even though I think they're super cute for my everyday makeup. I have a really hard time though getting foundation to cover freckles. If anyone has any tips for me, please let me know, because I've always had the hardest time with this, and you'll kind of see me go back and do this again, because once I do blush with the placement of the freckle, it kind of messes with the foundation or concealer that I put over it as well. So anyway, next I'm taking a cream contour. So I like a cream contour stick. This one, I don't necessarily recommend it because it didn't score great on my app. I have this app called Yucca that I scan everything to make sure it doesn't have any toxic ingredients in it. And this didn't score like perfect, and I like to make all my makeup score great. So if there's something that I'm using that's really nice and pure ingredients, I'll let you guys know. But cream contour is really great because you're really able to place it exactly where you want it. I love it in the stick form. And I'm just using my other side of my beauty blender to blend it out. And the most important part of this for me is my jawline. So I do that nice L shape, as you can see here on the jawline, to really snatch it and get it a nice shape. And this started to make a huge difference for me. Of course, this is gonna look pretty harsh, so we are needing to blend this all out with some bronzer. So I'm using this bronzer. Again, I don't necessarily recommend this particular bronzer, but I'm trying to use it up and finish it. And I'm gonna go pretty heavy on this. You can do whatever shape of contour that you want. Keep in mind, if you choose to do contour, that can obviously affect your face shape. And you know, a lot of people recommend not doing contour with Disney auditions because they don't want to only see you in a certain role. But for me, I have a pretty round face, and I find that adding the contour doesn't make me look too sharp and like I couldn't do certain lookalike roles. So I just kind of go heavy with it. I probably went a little bit heavier with it today than I even would for an audition, but I don't know, when you get blush on there and the rest of your makeup, kind of everything makes sense. I really make sure to blend it out and blend it into the temples, because if I have a bronzer in my temples, it really helps to blend out my blush. So here I am going in with this blush. This is an Almay blush. I do believe this blush got a good score, but it's not my favorite consistency. But any blush will work. I do go pretty crazy on the blush as well. I'm gonna go back to my disclaimer here because yes, I am going crazy on this blush. Please only do this if you experimented with it and you like it. I just personally think it looks good on me the way that I do it, and I'm gonna go back in and blend it out with a beauty blender. So yes, I go pretty crazy on the blush. Experiment with your blush placement. I like to put mine high up on my cheeks rather than the apple of my cheekbone, because it kind of lifts my entire face, and I just think it makes me look like I have higher cheekbones, and it just works with my face in particular. As you can see, I'm having trouble because I don't want to mess with my concealer that I put on my little freckles, so I am having a little bit of trouble with that. And so I'm going to go back in and try to redo my concealer. My problem with the concealer and the freckle is that anytime it gets brushed over it all, it just completely bleeds through the foundation and doesn't get covered at all. So again, if you have tips, let a girl know. But yeah, I just am touching that up. Then I take the Naked 2 Basics palette and I take this brown eyeshadow, and this is what I use for my brows. So like I was saying when I was shaping them with the shaver before, the like the bottom part of your brow closest to your eyeball is the part that gives it its shape. So you don't want to go too crazy on the top because that is what gives it a kind of drawn on, unnatural look. You want to do that nicer clean line on the bottom. Some people outline their brows with concealer, which I would definitely recommend doing. I didn't do that today, but that is definitely a trick that is super helpful for the bottom part. I also like to kind of brush up the inner corners a little bit to make it more natural. Then I'm taking some Banana Light powder, like face powder, and using it to lighten my brows. And I'm also taking a blonde brow gel to lighten my brows. I'm doing this so that I have more of an option of different character lookalikes I could hang out with, because if you have extremely dark brows with certain features, then it's harder to lighten your brows, and so it might limit you to certain roles. Now, this obviously totally depends on you, it totally depends on your skin tone and the color of your brows, but this is something I do to lighten my brows up. I believe I told you guys in a past auditions video that I got advice not to do brows at all, and I have completely changed my opinion on that. So, you know, opinions change all the time with what you should do with your makeup, but for me personally, I just like having a nice shape to my brows because I think it makes a huge difference in my overall makeup. And I think it's important to have nicely shaped brows. I think it is something that is important when casting character lookalikes, is your brow shape, and there's always exceptions to that rule, but I think it's something that is definitely worth experimenting with. Then I'm taking my Tarte concealer. This is the Shape Tape concealer, and I'm just using the tiniest little bit on my under eyes and my lids. Like I was saying with the coconut oil or the argan oil, I do that to really moisturize this because I have very sensitive like under eyes and they don't hold concealer very well. So some people, it might work better for your face to do lots and lots of concealer and do that nice triangle shape. For me, I try to keep concealer very minimal because it creases easily and shows through in my makeup. So I also am focusing on the outer corner of my lid for blending it out. And then I'm taking this matte eyeshadow from ColourPop and I'm actually doing some erasing of my crease. So I already have very naturally deep set eyes, which is great because it makes my eyes look bigger. However, it is a pretty defining feature that I don't need to accentuate anymore. I have such a natural crease that I actually want to make it less harsh rather than make it more harsh, which someone might do if you have hooded eyes. Then I'm taking just a nice nude color and putting it on the lids. Sometimes I might just do the white color on my lids, but today I felt like doing the nude color. I always use matte eyeshadow for Disney auditions. When I've heard people say in the past for Disney auditions to not do heavy makeup, really what that means to me is not doing colored eyeshadow or sparkly eyeshadow. I think eyeshadow, you want to keep it nice and matte. That doesn't mean you don't want to do it or experiment with it. Then I'm taking this Honest Beauty. This is a great pure ingredient makeup that I would recommend. It is in a purple shade, so I would recommend using a black shade, but I just put it under my eyes and then I'm putting a white eyeliner on my waterline. This combination is one of the best tricks that I have learned for makeup, specifically for this purpose of Disney auditions. It just makes your eyeballs look huge because you're outlining the bottom of your lids and then you're brightening your waterline, so it just makes your eyes look bigger and you can really tell a difference. Then I'm going back in with that lip lotion and Burt's Bees chapstick combination. The Burt's Bees is one of the ones that scores really well for non-toxic ingredients. I'm doing a little bit of a tight line. Pencil liner is not the best for this. If you have gel clean liner for tight lining, I would definitely recommend that. You can experiment with eyeliner. Here I'm just curling my lashes, but for eyeliner, I usually do liquid liner on the top, but I actually forgot today. And I actually later will go back in with liquid liner on the top. Obviously, if you're gonna do liquid liner on the top, you need to do it before your mascara. Right now, by the way, I'm doing falscara. You guys have heard me rave about falscara so many times. Yes, I'm using a toothpick to press it into my eyes, which I wouldn't recommend, but I have a very careful hand when I do this, and it just is a great way for me to get the details. You can see there just the huge difference that this falscara makes. Now, depending on what kind of casting call it is, definitely like eyeliner can make a difference. So I would probably do this look where I tightline and I don't do liquid liner. If it was, you know, a call to hang out with Alice or Wendy, or if I looked like Pocahontas and I wanted to do an audition to spend time with her. Those are really natural makeup looks. Here I'm just taking some Honest mascara, which does score great. The whole Honest brand is good. Make sure to do your bottom lash mascara. I think it also makes a huge difference with making your eyes look bigger, and it just really pulls everything together, especially with the falscara. It just makes it look more natural, like you're just wearing really, really good mascara rather than any sort of falsies, which they're not technically falsies, but they are a little bit different than just regular mascara. So that's great. I'm also taking a lip liner, and at this point my lips are nice and smooth and I am overlining my lips. This is also a huge tip for me that I found to make a huge difference at Disney auditions. I have very thin upper lips, which sometimes can be a wonderful thing, and I think it looks beautiful, and sometimes that's what they might be looking for certain characters. But for me, I do like to just make them look a little bit bigger because makes me look a little bit more versatile. I've never gotten anything done to my lips, and I don't personally want to do that. I think that looks beautiful if you do anything to your lips, like surgery wise, but I personally did not want to do that, and overlining my lips was the perfect solution for me to get the look that I wanted in my lips, but not do that. So I also am going back in with that lip liner. Someone gave me the tip once to actually use the Ben Nye lip liners all over your lips and then put the lipstick on top of it, but I didn't have a lot of it, so I didn't want to use it all up, but that's a great tip too. Here you can see I'm going back in with that liquid liner. Don't do a wing with the liquid liner. I wouldn't really recommend that. You could do a small one, and I never say never, but if I use liquid liner, I really want them to see the shape of my eyes and just follow the natural shape of my eyes. So I usually just do it on the outer corner and don't do a thick line on the inner corner. And then I am all done, so I'm just taking out my headband that I was using to protect my hair, and this is what it all looks like when we are done. I want to reiterate here that you do not need to wear any makeup to any audition if you are not comfortable in makeup. What you need to do is wear what you are most comfortable and confident in. You don't have to do your makeup this way or any other way in order to get pulled. I've seen people who are pulled for lookalike auditions who are wearing very minimal makeup and people who are wearing lots of makeup. So whatever makes you feel most confident is what you should do. And yes, this really has been like the Princess Diaries for me. It's been a wild ride if you know anything about my audition journey, but it's been so much fun, and I love being able to have you guys with me for the ride and supporting me, and being able to document this means a lot to me. So thank you guys for being here. If you do have any questions about how to do hair, maybe I'll do a separate video on that, or maybe I'll just chat with you guys about it in the comments. I usually just pull it up and out of my face, maybe in a top knot bun is usually what I do. But there's lots of different ways you can also experiment with your hair, and it can change your face shape a little bit depending on how your hair is framing, so that can be helpful. So we can chat about that. Let me know if you have any tips for me in the comments, because I am not a makeup expert and I love learning new things and new tips and tricks. I do post new Disney videos here every single week, so make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I really appreciate you guys. I love YouTube. I have ever since I was a little girl, and I'm just sharing about my passion for Disney and Disney auditions and some other fun things. There's lots of other stuff going on in my life that I don't post on here. So when I come here and when I film videos, it really means a lot to me because it's such a wonderful little break and a little spark of joy in my life. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys have a magical night, and I will talk to y'all next time. Bye!